Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to today's short sesh. Today, we are going to be looking at a very simple sort of step-by-step guide to actually start taking your own trades. Okay. Now, I know we have covered basically everything I'm going to be showing you today in depth multiple times. I'm hoping everybody does understand, or at least has a base level understanding of everything we're going to be covering. If you don't, please let me know, because we've got tons of previous footage and live sessions and things like that, which will teach you. Okay. Now, what we're going to be looking at today, guys, is GBP JPY. This is the 4-hour chart, and we are just basically going to try and find ourselves a good entry. Okay. I had a friend and a client of mine actually asked me the last couple of days, how do I work out an SL and a TP? And I tried to explain to him as sort of best I could that you actually don't necessarily go looking for your SL and TP. They normally just happen to be there organically. And what I mean by that is you don't go out plotting your SL and TP first. You firstly plot your idea. You plot your buying or your selling zone. You plot your, how sort of when you're going to enter and why. You have your indicators on, etc., etc. The SL and TP come after all that. So if you don't know how to plot a trend line, if you don't know how to spot a trend, etc., you're going to have no luck doing an SL and a TP, because you need the trade first. If you don't have the trade, the SL and the TP mean absolutely nothing. And another reason, guys, why it can be quite hard to, try and learn specifically how to plot an SL and how to plot a TP is because every SL and every TP is specific to every individual trade. Okay. My SL and my TP for my 4-hour GBP JPY trade is going to be no good for your 20 or 30-minute trade, So it's one of those guys where it's all about perspective. And really, trading as a whole is all about perspective. There's always two outcomes to a trade. There's always normally two genuine reasons to buy and to sell, and it's just about working out what you yourself think is more probable. Okay, so if you do find yourself struggling with SLs and TPs, guys, hopefully today will help you just at least, I guess, just be a bit more patient with it. There's no need to rush it, guys. And if you're really struggling to find the SLs and the TPs, but you do have some clear entry points, again, hopefully today we'll clear up a few bits and bobs. But obviously, my inbox is always open. Okay. Right, so first things first, step one is, in my opinion, to identify the trend. You can do that just by looking. You can add MAs or you can use trend lines, whatever you do is absolutely fine, guys. But for me, I'm just going to be looking at the chart, and I can see very, very easily that we've got quite a clear buy line here. Okay, it's a downtrend, but it's also a buy line. Red means it's a downtrend. Okay. So guys, using two lines now, I'm going to use just two lines. What would be the most likely outcome if this were to drop down to there? Okay, I'm not asking for what is going to be the outcome. What would be the most likely using just these two lines to look at? Okay, 3, 2, 1. The idea and the answer is for this to shoot back up. Okay, why? Well, it's done it here and here. And so it makes sense for it to do it a third time here. Okay. And that is what technical analysis is all about, guys. It's about looking at previous chart data, previous chart patterns, and working out, is it likely to happen again, or is something different likely to happen? Okay. Now, I'm not saying that this couldn't happen, that it could completely smash through and go to a completely different direction, and this could end up being a massive downtrend like that. However, we don't know that. We have nothing telling us that. There's nothing on this naked chart right now that's going to tell us to do that. So using probability, using what you can see, it has to always be a buy on this zone. There's no other answer for it, because there's nothing else telling us that that's going to happen. Okay, whereas we do have things telling us that this is going to happen. So for us, we do have our long-term trend, which is a downtrend, but it is also a buy line. However, there are always going to be trends within trends, and then sometimes within trends again. And what I mean by that is, if we just spread this chart out a little bit, you can see here along our downtrend, there is now potentially a bit of an uptrend forming here. And you can see that. Got a touch there, got a couple of touches here. So this could be a brand new, sort of trend, I guess. This could be a completely new buy zone. And maybe the red one is now done. Maybe that's completely done. This isn't going to be used again. Okay, if you see what I mean, this could be a brand new thing that's formed, and maybe that just means that this red line is no longer valid. It could go like this, could shoot up. Okay, just to show you what I mean, this could happen. Don't know if it will, but that is a possibility. Now, the reason it's good to spot the trends within the trends is firstly for your entry points, because if you see that you want to buy on this zone, okay, you're not just going to automatically sell down to this zone, because again, this could happen. You could have a whole host of stuff happen in between before it finally drops down, okay? Or maybe it never will. Maybe it never does drop all the way down to where you think. So that is why it's important, guys, to just see what sort of trends are going on, and maybe even go down, drop to slightly lower time frames if you wish, and see if the buy line here has got any juice behind it. If the 30-minute and the one hour charts are starting to shoot up, maybe this will continue to shoot up as well. Okay, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I think for me, again, using only what we've got in front of us, the more likely option is for this to sink down here. Okay, but we're not going to be selling down to there, because that isn't the idea. The idea is a buy from this line. Okay, reason for that is because every time it's touched before, 1, 2, 3, it has bought. Okay, simple as that. So don't be reading into trades too much, guys. If I send a buy limit or a sell limit, it doesn't necessarily mean that the trade is definitely 100% going to do it. And if I sent a buy limit, for example, to there, don't then go and automatically put a sell on down to there, because anything could happen in between. That's obviously what I'm trying to get at. Right, so step 1 is done. We've got our trend. We've actually put on our trend lines already, so we know we are going to be looking for a buy here. We need to now apply our indicators, and again, we are going to keep it simple as we always do. We're going to start off with Bollinger Bands. We are also going to add on our stochastic RSI. And then we're just going to stick it for that. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to put that on now. And okay, and if we actually have a little look at the previous touches of our buy zone, okay, so here and here, you can see, guys, that every time it's touched, not only has the trend line been touched, but the Bollinger Band has been touched, and the RSI has been very, very low as well. Okay, on this one here, we've had a breach of the lower Bollinger Band, which is an even stronger signal. We've also had a touch of the trend line, a long wick, and the RSI. So that's 4 things telling us to buy there. Okay. Now, the one thing that is potentially telling us to buy at this point is the RSI, because the RSI is very, very low. However, it doesn't always go from being immediately under to back up. If you actually have a little look, for example, here, you can see the RSI was absolutely rock bottom for quite a while, for a number of hours, a number of candles. And so just because it's telling us to buy here, it doesn't necessarily mean that is going to happen. This could end up curving back around and back down. Okay. Again, we're only going to know that when it happens. But the one thing telling us to buy rather than to wait is obviously the RSI. Now, obviously, if the RSI is this low already, imagine how much lower or how low it's going to stay when it's at this point here. So we can all probably safely already say that if the trend does reach this point, that the RSI is going to be in an identical or very similar position to how it was there and there and there. Okay. And if we look at the Bollinger Bands as well, the Bollinger Bands here, they're quite far apart. Okay. The one thing that's telling us to buy is the RSI. The one thing that's telling us not to buy really is the Bollinger Bands. Quite far apart. They haven't really had any major squeeze to signal a trend change or anything like that. We don't have any touches of the lower band or really the upper band. So it's one of those where although the RSI is telling us, that's only one thing out of many things that we do want to check. Okay, so for me, the safe money is obviously just to watch and wait. Now, I do want to put on the other trend line just quickly again, just so I can show you what potentially could happen. And it's just what I was saying a minute ago, guys, where we could have a buy off of this line. Now, if this indeed is a buying zone, so the blue line is, it's acting like a bit of a support zone, then the RSI would be correct and you would be looking to buy off of that. But again, I wouldn't be taking a trade based off of this. It's just not enough information for me. One indicator, that's all we've got on. It's not really giving us anything, any huge hope. However, if it did shoot up and then say came back down like this, for example, that would be way, way more interesting, because then you would go and do step 4 and you would watch and wait and you would see how it reacts on that line, because we don't know if this trend line at the bottom's finished or if this one is about to take over. And we will know if this happens, because it will shoot up, retest as it's known, and then it'll either shoot up, hopefully for the stars, or it will break through and go back down. Okay, one of the two, will happen if this pattern does. And so again, watch and wait is absolutely crucial. There's a lot of our clients at the moment who are getting into their own trading. I think that is probably the number one sort of misstep is not watching and not waiting. The other thing you need to be very careful of, guys, is how long the candle has left. Okay, so you can see this tiny little green one there. That is currently forming, and that is at that current price, 158.510. We've still got 35 minutes left. Okay, so with 35 minutes, it could be all the way down here, all the way up there, or slightly up here, or slightly down there. You know, there's no way of knowing until the candle has closed. So when I say watch and wait, I don't always just mean just the trend line. Sometimes I mean the candles as well. How long have the candles got left? If you're on the 4-hour chart and you've got less than really 2 hours, I would always wait for the next. Okay, unless the lower time frames are absolutely screaming at you to buy. But for this one, we can afford to be nice and patient because our buy zone, our ideal buy zone, is quite far away. It's going to take probably a couple of days for it to reach. But we're going to now delete that one off. I just wanted to show you why there would potentially be a buy rather than just a sell straight down to our zone, obviously. But for this one, guys, very, very easy setup. So this is now played out. This is now what's happened. Okay, we've had our nice drop. We are now trading at this zone, which we have bought from previously. We've watched and waited, okay, and it's closed on the line. What are we going to do? Are we going to buy straight away, or are we going to wait and see how the next candle plays out? Well, there's three things I want to show you here. Firstly, guys, if it closes below that line, then you would definitely most certainly wait, because you don't want to be jumping in if it's below that line, because it could just continue going. If it closes above, again, you would want to wait. You would want to watch and see how it plays out. If it closes on the line exactly with an upper wick but no lower wick, then again, I would be watching and waiting. But if it closes on the line, okay, and it has a lower wick and a smaller or very little upper wick, that is when I would be for sure buying, because we've now got that additional information telling us, the long wick below, or the lack of upper wick, telling us that the buyers are now in a position to take over. So we need to work out the SL and TP, and this is a question I've been asked quite a few times this week, is how do I obviously work out my SLs, my TPs? And again, the easiest thing for me to do, guys, is firstly, find your buying zone, okay? Because we cannot find a stable SL if we don't have this buying zone here. And all I do, as I've shown many, many times before, guys, is grab another trend line, okay? And then go along your line and see how far these wicks have breached. Okay, so you can see we've got a breach there, tiny little breach there, and very, very little one there. So really, you want to bring this as close as you can while still giving it breathing room, okay, so that if it does drop down and have a little wobble like it did there, that it's not going to tap you out. Okay, so for me, that looks like a pretty standard SL. And again, I won't give you the exact figures, guys. I just want to show you how to do it. This is just a trade idea. I'm not telling you to actually go and take this trade. I just want to obviously show you why and where you would put the SL. So we've got that. Okay, SL is pretty clear, pretty easy. We've got the breathing room, we've got a gap between our biggest dip. How do we now work out the TP? And again, with the TP, you can afford to be a bit more sort of fluid, a bit more flexible, because it's not, in a way, it's not as important. Okay, the SL is important because you don't want to be risking an absolute arm and a leg. Whereas with the TP, you can increase it and change it and move it as it goes up. So if you initially want to make 50 pips, and you saw it was 30 pips up within about an hour, you could then maybe extend it to 100 pips. And then maybe a day later it's there. Maybe it's like 80, 90 pips up, and then you can extend it again and again. Okay. Obviously, you don't want to be doing that at your stop loss, because every time you extend your stop loss, you're essentially throwing your analysis out the window, and you're saying to yourself, okay, really, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just hoping for the best because I don't want this one to stop out. So with us, I can't remember the last time we adjusted our stop loss. I mean, we used to every now and then, but you got to stick to your guns, I think, guys. There's no point extending stop losses. You're better off spending the time, letting yourself get stopped out, and then plotting your next move, plotting your rebound. And if you think of it like that, if you hit a stop loss, it's just like depositing a few pips for you to then reclaim them and more later. All right. Now, TP, we need to work out where the TP is going to go. And all I'm going to do is look at the previous touches. So one touch went all the way up to there, two touch to there, three touch to there. So let's just go bang in the middle, because we want to guarantee ourselves a TP. We don't want to push for the absolute maximum amount, not on our first TP anyway, which would probably be there, because as we can see, the second touch, it didn't actually even hit that zone. And you would be incredibly pissed if you bought it there, didn't see that it was all the way up there and then it dropped back down, because you're probably missing out on several hundred pips easily, 300, 400 pips. So drag the trend line back down, okay, and put it somewhere where it has been hit repeatedly after hitting your buy zone, okay, which for me is going to be right in the middle. You can even go light like that. Okay, can you see that, guys? So if you stretch that out, and we'll play this one out in front of us. So I'm going to change the bottom one. Actually, we'll get that red. SL will be red. The entry point we will do as green. Okay, so that's our entry, that's our SL. And this is our TP. Okay, it's as simple as that, guys. And you can see already, just from looking at it, that the distance between the entry and the SL is, you know, well over half, probably 1 to 2, 1 to 3 at least, compared to the TP. So the TP is nice and big, TP is nice and wide, and it looks realistic. It's not a TP that's just been thrown out there for the sake of it. Both the SL and the TP, although it's just a basic setup, although all you've really done is grab the trend line and put it through, that is sometimes all you need to do. Okay, what we're then going to do, guys, well, provided that we have all the things telling us to buy, the RSI, we've got the trend line touch, we've got hopefully some long wicks beneath, hopefully we've got, you know, the Bollinger Bands down and being touched as well. Provided those are all lining up like they were for here and here, okay, you are then going to buy the trade. And it's as simple as that. It's as simple as waiting for the price to hit and then waiting for a similar, you know, a similar sort of formation to show. And if you look at that and see something like that or that, then you are going to buy straight away, guys. Okay, that is it for today's video. I just really wanted to start getting you guys onto looking at your own positions. I'm not telling you to start buying and selling absolutely everything, but start plotting your ideas on trading for sure, save your progress, and then that way you can come back to it in the next couple of weeks and see how your idea did, you know? Well worth doing, guys. Nice one. We're going to have a few more videos out, hopefully by the end of the week. Loads of stuff coming up as well. We've got our NFT group launch coming soon. What else we've got coming up? We've got our, for the Tipman, so I know we've got some Tipman members in here. We do have the exchange channel coming as well for you guys. Yeah, so big, exciting times, guys, and we've got a lot coming up. Now, if you have any questions, issues, anything at all on anything that we've done today, please do let me know. But just remember, guys, start with these sort of 5 steps, okay? Identify the trend, plot your trend lines, apply your indicators, watch and wait, and then work out your SL and TP. You can really do watch and wait on SL and TP either way round. Obviously, make sure the final thing you do is enter the trade. Nice one. I look forward to seeing more and more of you submitting your ideas. If you have any questions, as always, at the Pips Room on Telegram. Take care.